At this hour, from downtown St. Louis to New York City to our nation's capital, protests, outrage, even celebration over the leak of the High Court's potential abortion decision. Shockwaves still reverberating tonight after a leaked document reveals the nation's highest court may be planning to overturn Roe v. Wade. And tonight, President Biden calling that opinion a fundamental shift. As tensions flare, we're covering all angles, all sides of this. Jenna Ray is at a protest. Russell Kinsall is at Planned Parenthood in the city where so much could change. Russell, let's start with you tonight.
Yeah, the immediate concern here at Planned Parenthood in the Central West End on Forest Park Avenue, the only clinic in Missouri performing abortions, is what that ruling would mean to women who want an abortion. But there could be political fallout that could impact the midterm elections and which party controls Congress. There could be legal fallout that affects your right to privacy on other issues. The leak of the Supreme Court draft ruling is being fiercely criticized across the country by Republicans. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis called the leak judicial insurrection. Renee Artman is the chair of the St. Louis County Republican Steering Committee.
I think any attempt to intimidate any of the Supreme Court justices is totally wrong.
Artman says the leak was intended to energize Democrats ahead of the midterm elections.
I find it curious that they leaked it on the eve of the Ohio primary. I think that's a distraction. I think the Democrats are very, very worried about the midterms.
The state chair of the Democratic Party isn't surprised by the reaction from Democrats.
Yes, I do think it's going to motivate folks. I do think that it should motivate folks.
While Republicans seem focused on the leak, Democrats seem more focused on the expected ruling.
The fact that our rights and women's rights can be taken away within days and by a small group of judges should make anyone angry.
There's also fallout for the Supreme Court itself. Former Missouri Supreme Court Chief Justice Mike Wolf told me the court has been getting more politicized. He said especially with former President Trump's selection of judges drawn from the Federalist Society, who it was presumed would reverse Roe v. Wade.
So it does look much more politicized as an institution, and it used to be like way high in our esteem, and now it's kind of down with the rest of the politicians. And I think that's bad for the court and bad for the country.
In February, 54% of those surveyed had a favorable opinion of the Supreme Court and 44% unfavorable. But just 2 years ago, the Supreme Court was held in higher regard with a 70% favorable rating. He said the other fallout is that certain rights to privacy now held could be challenged in court because they were based on the privacy rights established by Roe v. Wade.
But there's other things that may be impacted, like contraception, minors' rights and so forth, that had some dependency on Roe v. Wade.
So after the 1973 landmark Roe v. Wade decision, there was an expansion of right to privacy that included issues such as mental health treatment, the privacy of your data, and the right to die, as well as contraception and same-sex marriage. So there could be legal challenges regarding those issues that go on long after the landmark ruling Roe v. Wade is struck down. Live in the Central West End, Russell Kinsall, News 4.
Russell, thank you. And so many of you are asking, what does this mean for the bi-state? Yeah, so right now abortions in Missouri are legal up to 22 weeks into pregnancy, but they require 2 trips to a health center with 72 hours between those trips. A 2019 trigger law also means if Roe v. Wade is overturned, abortion statewide would become illegal. So for a Missouri woman, this means having to travel across state lines for abortion care. Illinois currently does not have a mandatory waiting period for getting an abortion or a trigger law on the books, which would mean abortion care will likely remain even without Roe v. Wade. News 4 has been monitoring reaction from our local leaders on both sides of this issue.
A decision to overturn Roe v. Wade does not mean that abortions will stop happening. It just means that in half of the states where their governors and legislatures have declared war on reproductive rights, women will be forced into dangerous and sometimes deadly situations.
If indeed the court does overrule Roe, it will open up a whole new set of conversations about policy that we have needed to have in the country for a long, long time.
And News 4 has reached out to Missouri Governor Mike Parson for comment, but so far we have not heard back. Our team